Hello everybody, welcome to Tech Life. My name is Julio. Thank you for being here. If you are new to the channel, what I've been doing is I've been documenting my 24-week coding bootcamp that I just graduated from. Thank you very much. And if you want to see that graduation, I'll put the link, little card up there. The last video I made regarding the bootcamp ended in week 18. And today I want to talk about weeks 19 and 20 because they both cover React. I don't want to just tell you about my week. I want to tell you really more how I went about learning React, and maybe that's something that you can apply if you are in a bootcamp or you're trying to learn React yourself. I will tell you that the topic of React is one where I used probably the most supplemental learning from the class lessons. What I mean by that is that not only did I take the coursework that I had to learn React, but then I heavily used things like YouTube and Udemy and Treehouse and all this other stuff, and really anything I could find. The React docs, which are actually really good. I used all of that to help me learn React. Use the lessons and the information that you get from your bootcamp, and I took that as a foundation, right? Because I didn't know anything about React before then. Take all that knowledge, right? And then go back home and redo the coursework, and of course work on your homework assignments. But then really try and find something else that talks to you about React in a different way, because it might help you understand it a little better. Now you may get React, and it's very likely that you'll get React very well from the coursework, right? It's not that the coursework is bad or anything like that. It's just that for me, kind of getting it explained to me in different ways and seeing different examples was very useful. Before you go and start and pay for anything, make sure, like you should have been doing the entire course, make sure you utilize your TAs, which are probably the best resource you have because they're right there and they can explain things to you in a bunch of different ways. And also don't be afraid to use other students in the class. You may have some students that already have an understanding of React. And then of course also be sure to use your online tutoring that is provided to you. I can't stress that enough. Now, after you've done all that and you still want to get some supplemental learning, then go out and try all the other stuff that I just mentioned, because that did help me. The way I look at it is that I got my React foundation from the bootcamp, and then when I did some other course or some YouTube video, that foundation I had helped me understand and learn whatever that course was teaching a little quicker. And then when I went back to class, whatever I may have learned in the course supplemented my learning in class, and they complemented each other so that I could get a better picture and a better understanding of what React is and how to use it. Really try and immerse yourself in React. And I hope I'm not making it seem like React is really hard to learn, because it's not. It's a very simple concept. And in fact, let me give you an analogy of what React basically is. If you imagine you and some of your friends standing shoulder to shoulder, and each one of you has a puzzle piece in your hand, and the puzzle piece that's being held by each person fits the next piece, right? So you don't have to search the pieces, they all fit each other. And then starting at one end, that person passes a puzzle piece to the next person and they connect it, and then they pass those two pieces to another person and they connect it. It starts to build the entire picture slowly, right? Each one of those pieces is a React component. That is what React is basically doing. It's just taking small pieces, passing them up the line, and at the very end, it's building you a picture. Essentially, that's really what React is. What I'll go ahead and do is I'll go ahead and start a React app so that you can see what that is, and I can show you in the code what I'm talking about as far as passing those pieces, right? This is not going to be a tutorial on React, okay? It's just my attempt to give you a general understanding of what React does, okay? So let's get into the computer and we can get started on that. All right, guys, so let's get started. Here we have an empty VS Code window. And what I'm going to do is go ahead and open up the terminal. And to do that on the Mac is just Control and the little tilde sign, which is right next to the #1 key. All right, and what we're going to do is we're going to bring in React and create our app. npx create React app, and I'll just call it my app. Super fancy. We hit enter and React is going to start doing its thing right there. There are a couple of different ways that you can start using React. The absolute simplest and fastest way is to just use the CDN and bring it into your projects, just like you would Bootstrap or any other library, jQuery, whatever, and boom, you can start using React. However, the way that you will likely use it is by creating an app, using Create React App. It's super simple. As you can tell, it's like NPM, but it's NPX. And if I'm not mistaken, NPX, what it does is that it installs all the files and then deletes them, or something like that. Once it's loaded, let's take a look at what it does. So as you can see, it created my app right here because that's what I told it to name it. And we'll take a really quick look inside. Here's where we're going to spend most of our time, in this source folder right here. All right. So let's do what React is telling us to do, and cd into my app, and then let's run it by doing npm start. And what's going to happen right there is that npm is going to, I did it again. So what happened right here, guys, is that I forgot I have another project that I'm using I'm using port 3000 already. So yes, I'm just going to tell it to use a different port. And here's our app right here. This is the app that we just created with Create React App. This is all boilerplate that comes with React. So let's take a look at it real fast. Here's you can see that we have this background, we have this spinning logo, some text right here, edit source app.js, and then here is a link. Where does all that exist in the code? It's all right here. Here's the logo, and if we go into app.js, here you can see that we have a div with a header, and here's that text right there. Edit source app.js code, edit source app.js code, and here's the link. You can see that here's an A tag, and here's an A tag, and then here is the text for that tag. Learn React, learn React. All this right here is basically right here. So remember the analogy that I talked about with the different puzzle pieces. This app.js right here is one of those puzzle pieces. It's almost to the very end, actually. The last puzzle piece, you could say, is right here under index.js, where it brings in app and then actually sends it to the DOM into this this ID called root. And root is just an index.html file. It's a div. This is just HTML, guys, nothing special right here. It's just an empty div with the ID of root. And everything that we create, it goes right in here. So let's make our own puzzle piece. I'm gonna make a component called puzzle.jsx. You can use .js. I like using JSX. What we want to do right now, and don't worry about the code that I'm typing down if you don't know what it means. It's really not that important. What I'm trying to show you right here are how these pieces come together as components and slowly build your app. That's the concept that I'm trying to relay to you, okay? You will learn how to use React and how to build these components in your bootcamp. If you want me to go a little bit more into that, I'm more than happy to do it in a later video. But for those of you that do not know any React at all, this is more of a theoretical understanding of what React does. which is actually very simple. All right, so what I'm going to do first is I'm going to import React from React. Before I forget, I want to export what I'm going to create in just a second. And I called it puzzle. All right, so I'm going to make a function called puzzle, and I want it to return, let's just say I want it to return an H1 that says this is my puzzle, I guess. This is a component right here. What I've created is a very simple component, and what it does is that it creates an H1 tag. Now, you're going to learn this down the road, but this, although it looks like HTML, it is not HTML. You see how right there it says JSX? This is actually JSX. It is not HTML. For the purposes of this video, it pretty much looks and on the outside acts like HTML, okay? I have created a puzzle piece, all right? So now what I want to do is I want to pass this puzzle piece to my friend over here called app.js, okay? So let's go ahead and open that up. And in order to pass it, I need to export it, and then I need to bring it in. Import puzzle from puzzle. Okay, and then once I have it in here, I can use it. So what I'm going to do is I'm going to put it right underneath this div right here, puzzle, right there. So before I show you what's actually happened, let me go over this one more time. I created a puzzle piece, and I just called it puzzle. I could have named it anything. And then once I created it, and what this puzzle piece does is that it just has an H1 that says this is my puzzle. I made this puzzle piece available by exporting it, and then I import it to my friend over here, app. And then he brings it in right here with import puzzle from puzzle, and then uses it or connects it to his puzzle piece right here. So now I have this is my puzzle on top of his code. And if I wanted to reuse this puzzle piece, I don't have to create another function. I just use it again. Save that. And boom, there it is down there. My puzzle, their code, my code. Obviously, this is a very watered down version of the things that you can do with React, but it gives you an understanding of how it works with the different components to build something very cool. All right, guys, so hopefully you were able to understand from somewhat of a theoretical point of view what React does. Again, don't worry about the code that I actually typed down. If you don't know what it means, you will learn how to use it. And I'd be happy to create a video on that, not only because it helps you, but it also helps me trying to teach it. It helps me get better at React. So with that said, my next video will be about the final project. So we have 3 major projects that we do in the course, right? Projects 1 and 2 are groups, are group projects. Those groups are assigned. Project 3, you can choose your group or you can choose to go solo. And that is what I chose to do. And that was quite an experience, let me tell you. I'm happy that I went solo. I think there was pros and cons to it. And anyways, I will talk about it in the next video. If you're coming up to that point in your coding bootcamp, then you'll really enjoy the next video so that you can make that decision on whether you should go solo or maybe pair up with somebody else or a couple of people. All right, guys, I will see you at the next one. Talk to you later.